السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. باب يهدي إلى أقربهم بابا. عن عائشة رضي الله عنها قالت: قلت يا رسول الله إن لي جارين فإلى أيهما أهدي؟ قال: إلى أقربهما منك بابا. So continuing with Adab Al Mufrad by Imam Bukhari rahimahullah. And last week we started the chapters regarding the neighbors and how much emphasis and how much importance our Sharia gives to taking care of our neighbors. This is, if we look at it, there's a lot of instructions how we should deal with our neighbors, the ones who live near our homes. They have a lot of rights, just like our parents have rights, our children have rights, and our relatives. Likewise, our neighbors have a lot of rights, and a lot of importance is given in Sharia in taking care of the neighbors, making sure that we look after whatever their needs are, making sure that they are comfortable, they are protected. So it is the neighbor's responsibility to make sure that the neighbors are living comfortably and they're not in any difficulty, any pain or anything. And last week we read many ahadith. For example, one of the hadith that we learned last week was that Prophet ﷺ mentions in the hadith that very straightforward, that whoever believes in Allah and whoever has iman in akhirah, meaning whoever is a mu'min, whoever believes in Allah and whoever believes in akhirah, then he should be kind to his neighbors. فَلْيُحْسِنْ إِلَى جَارِهِ. Be good to your neighbors. So this is the one instruction given right after a person has iman. If you have iman, then you have to do this. You have to be kind to your neighbors, be good to your neighbors. And the scholars mentioned why Prophet ﷺ mentions this with iman and iman billah and iman bil akhirah. That if you believe in Allah and you believe in akhirah, then you have to be kind to your neighbors. Why is it connected together? Being kind to the neighbors, why is it connected with iman? And the scholars mentioned that when a person has true iman and he has belief in akhirah, he remembers the akhirah, this will make him be good to his neighbors automatically. When a person remembers that on the day of Qiyamah, I'll have to face Allah and I'll have to give him the hisab of everything that I've done in this dunya, he will automatically be good to his neighbors. He will make sure he does not do anything wrong. He will make sure he does not do any sins. And a lot of times people have questions about what is tasawwuf. This is a very common question. What is tasawwuf? And if we look at it, the reality of tasawwuf is that a person has full concentration of Allah and of the day of Qiyamah. He always remembers Allah. In his heart, he always remembers Allah. He never forgets. And when a person has this in his mind, that he always remembers Allah and he always remembers the akhirah, that I'll have to give my hisab, this will make sure that this person's life is 100% on Islam. He will not fall into sins. When he knows that if I do this, Allah will question me and then He will punish me for it, he will automatically not do that sin. So when a person has this yaqeen in his heart, he always remembers Allah and he remembers the akhirah. This will make sure that a person is always on the straight path. And Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanwi rahimahullah, about him there are many incidents, many stories about him, how much he used to remember Allah and akhirah all the time. And there's so many incidents. For example, there was one incident I was reading about that Hazrat Thanwi rahimahullah, once he was traveling by train and he had extra luggage. And when we fly and if you have extra luggage, you have to pay extra for the extra luggage. There's a certain amount of luggage that is included. And if you have more than that, then you have to pay extra. So Hazrat Thanwi rahimahullah, he was traveling by train and he had extra luggage. So he was standing at the counter to pay for that extra luggage. So the person standing there at the counter, he said, he recognized Mawlana Shafai Thanwi rahimahullah, and he said that, oh, don't worry about it. You don't have to pay, just take the extra luggage. Don't worry about paying extra. You know, if someone tells us at the airport, you know how happy we will get, right? That we don't have to pay extra for the extra luggage, and we get to take the free luggage, extra luggage. So Hazrat Thanwi rahimahullah, he asked that person that how long, you know, in those places, the way it works is that the one who's standing at the counter, he is also traveling in the train, making sure that everyone's luggage is okay. So he's traveling in the train together. So Hazrat Thanwi rahimahullah asked him that how long will you be in the train? Because if you're getting off a few stations ahead, the one who's going to come in the train to check the luggage, he's going to question me about the extra luggage. So how long will you be in the train with me anyways? So he said, I'll be up to that certain destination. So Hazrat Thanwi said, then after that, who is going to, if someone comes and he questions me about it, what do I do then? So he said, don't worry, I'll tell the person ahead that I already took care of it, don't question you about the extra luggage. So Hazrat Thanwi said, okay, then what if he gets to his destination, and who's gonna look after me after that? So Hazrat Thanwi, the person said that you're not gonna travel past his destination. He's gonna be all the way till the end. Hazrat Thanwi said, no, I have to go even after he gets off. Where his second person's destination is, I'm traveling even further. So he said, where are you traveling? He says, all the way to the akhirah. On the akhirah, Allah's gonna ask me that you took extra luggage and you did not pay for that. Who's gonna help me at that time? So these scholars, these akabir, these sulaha, they used to always remember akhirah. Everything that they were doing, they would remember about that they have to stand in front of Allah, and He will question too, who is going to help in that situation. So anyways, this remembering of akhirah is a method of, if a person he's always remembering the akhirah, this will be a method for him to be kind to his neighbors too. فَلْيُحْسِنْ إِلَى جَارِهِ. Be good to your neighbors. So anyways, this was recapping of what we learned in the previous week. Here Imam Bukhari rahimahullah is bringing some more ahadith regarding the taking care of the neighbors and fulfilling their rights. So Aisha radiallahu anha, she asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, I have two neighbors. And as we all have one neighbor on each side, I have two neighbors. To which one should I give a gift to? You know, this question only arises if a person only has one gift, one item to give as a gift. You know, we all have, alhamdulillah, multiple. We can give it to both the neighbors. We don't have, this question may not arise to us, that who should I give one gift to? So Aisha Allana, she probably only had one item, one gift to give. So she's asking, who should I give this one gift to out of the two neighbors? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إِلَىٰ أَقْرَبِهِمَا مِنْ كِبَابًا. Give it to that neighbor whose door is more closer to your house. Look at they both are neighbors, but whoever's door is more closer, meaning whoever is more closest neighbor to you, he has more rights compared to the neighbor whose house is a little bit distant compared to the first one. And then Imam Bukhari rahimahullah brings another hadith. عن الحسن رحمه الله أنه سئل عن الجار فقال 40 دارا أمامه و40 خلفه و40 عن يمينه و40 عن يساره. You know, a lot of times we might think that our neighbors are the houses next door to us. This is our neighbor, this is our neighbor. Hasan Bisri rahimahullah, he was asked how many neighbors a person has and how many houses is considered the person's neighbor. So Hasan Bisri rahimahullah said, 40 houses from the front are all your neighbors. 40 houses on your right side, they're all your neighbors. Up to 40 houses towards the right side, and 40 houses towards your left. And 40 houses towards the back. So 120 No, 160 houses. 160 houses, not 2 houses. 160 houses are considered neighbors according to this. 40 houses from each direction. They're all the neighbors. So that, which tells us that a person's responsibility is to take care of the needs of all those 160 houses. Look after their needs. Don't just look after your just next door neighbor and okay, he's doing well, okay, I'm done with my responsibility. No, look at the house next door. If he is in need of any food or any clothing or anything, and then if he doesn't need, okay, find out from the third, from the fourth. Look after your neighborhood. This is what it is. Look after your entire neighborhood. So not just the direct neighbor, the entire neighborhood is our responsibility. And then next hadith, Imam Bukhari rahimahullah brings, عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال لا يبدأ بجاره الأقصى قبل الأدنى ولكن يبدأ بالأدنى قبل الأقصى. So now as we learned in the previous hadith that up to 40 houses are neighbors. Whose rights come first and whose rights come after? Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu was mentioning this, that the one who is closest to you, لا يبدأ بجاره الأقصى قبل الأدنى. Don't fulfill the rights of a further neighbor before the closer ones. Meaning don't jump to the further neighbors before looking after the needs of the closer neighbors. So then the rights of neighbors comes in order. It's not that okay, all 40 have a right upon me, but they're not all equal. The one who is the most closest has the more right compared to the ones who are further. And Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu explaining this, he says, لكن يبدأ بالأدنى قبل الأقصى. Always fulfill the rights of the closer ones before going to the further neighbors. Sometimes we will give a gift to the 10 houses down, ignoring the first 9 houses. No, make sure that you fulfill the rights of the first 9 houses before you go to the 10th one. So go in order. Once there was a great scholar by the name of Abdullah bin Mubarak rahimahullah. Who is Abdullah bin Mubarak rahimahullah? He is one of the teachers of Imam Bukhari rahimahullah. A great muhaddith, a great scholar. Once his neighbor was moving and he was selling his house. Abdullah bin Mubarak rahimahullah's neighbor was selling his house, and he listed his house, or he announced his house for sale for the double price of that house. So say the house was 100,000, he's asking 200,000 for that house. So people asked him that you're asking way too much. It doesn't worth that much. You're asking double the price. He said, yes, I'm asking 100,000 for the house, but I'm asking the extra 100 because of being the neighbor of Abdullah bin Mubarak rahimahullah. This is being a neighbor. You're getting a chance to be his neighbor. So people used to, our scholars, our akabir, our sulaha, they used to take care of the neighbors. And he's putting the value of that in the house, that you will get such a nice neighbor. So he sold his house for double the price. And then Imam Bukhari rahimahullah brings another hadith. عن ابن عمر رضي الله عنه قال لقد أتى علينا زمان أو قال حين وما أحد أحق بديناره ودرهمه من أخيه المسلم ثم الآن الدينار والدرهم أحب إلى أحدنا من أخيه المسلم. Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhu, he's telling us that the difference between the time of Prophet ﷺ and the time after him. So meaning the time of Sahaba and the time of Tabi'een. He's telling us one difference that he says, I notice a difference from the time of Sahaba and from the time of Tabi'een. So he says that a time had come upon us, previously, a time had come upon us, and Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhu was mentioning this at the time of Tabi'een, after Prophet ﷺ passed away. That a time had come to us when every person preferred his wealth to give to others before himself. Meaning the money that I earn, my money, my wealth, the person would consider the other people more deserving of his wealth than his own self. So he would not spend on himself before looking after the needs of the other person. ما أحد أحق بديناره ودرهمه من أخيه المسلم. Nowadays, what do? When we earn, we make sure that we fulfill our needs. If it's extra, then we give it to someone that is in need. He says that at the time of Prophet ﷺ, before the time we used to live in, was that every person, he would feel that his wealth is more deserving for others than his own self. ثم الآن الدينار والدرهم أحب إلى أحدنا من أخيه المسلم. He says that now, at the time of Tabi'een, the situation is such that every person feels that his wealth, he deserves his own wealth more than giving it to others. The time has changed. And we see this, and if we notice, this is Abdullah ibn Umar is saying about the time of Tabi'een. Imagine our times, how much we think of our wealth to be ours compared to our wealth being other needy people's, spending it for them. And then Abdullah bin Umar then says that سمعت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول كم من جار متعلق بجاره يوم القيامة يقول يا رب هذا أغلق بابه دوني فمنع معروفه. I have heard Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم say that there will be many neighbors on the day of Qiyamah. There will be many neighbors on the day of Qiyamah who will be holding on to their neighbors and going to Allah and saying, Ya Rab, هذا أغلق بابه دوني. He had closed his door before me. A neighbor will take his neighbor to Allah, complaining to Allah that, Ya Allah, this is my neighbor. When I went to him for help, I asked him for a need, for some food or something. He closed his door. He did not help me. منع معروفا. He prevented me from the good that he had. From the blessings that he had, he prevented me from it. He did not give me. And this person will be complaining to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about his neighbors. Right, and so we learn from these ahadith, and there's many more chapters Imam Bukhari rahimahullah is bringing regarding the rights of neighbors and how a person should look after his neighbors. Imam Ghazali rahimahullah, he mentions an incident about a pious waliullah, a great saint of the past. He says that this waliullah, this pious person, once he had a lot of mice, a lot of rats and mice in his home, and he was very much disturbed by these mice, and he could not find a way to get rid of them. He tried different ways, and they were not going away. So someone suggested to him that one of the things you can do is you can get a cat and keep it in your home, and that will scare the mice away, and they won't come to your home. So he listened to that suggestion, but he kind of ignored it. Sometime later, this person, this scholar, this waliullah, he mentioned it to people again that, I'm really tired of these mice, they're not going away. So that person said, I gave you a suggestion before, but you're not following the suggestion anyways, so how are they going to go away? So he says, no, I liked your suggestion, but I could not apply that to my house, because if I keep the cat and the mice get scared, they run away, they will go to the neighbor's house. Now I don't want to disturb my neighbors. So this is how much they used to look after making sure that the neighbors are not in any difficulty. Whatever they liked for themselves, they liked that for the others. This is an example for that. I don't want mice in my house. I don't want them to go to the neighbor's house too. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to fulfill the rights of the neighbors and look after their comfort, and whatever we love for ourselves, we should love that for our neighbors too. Wa akhiru da'wana an alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. This will be, I think, the last session before Ramadan. Inshallah. After Ramadan, we'll continue again, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.